I thought it was an excellent event. I thought it was very, very well chaired. It was an excellent panel, very diverse, absolutely pleased. We do 8 of these a year. We've been doing them for 21 years, so hopefully we got something right. But you can never take these things for granted. And the issue always, frankly, is just getting the right mix of speakers and the right chair. And I thought Paul did a great job. Paul White, Frogmore, did a great job this morning. Listen, I think Paul for a start, has a long background in property. I alluded to the fact that I met him 20 odd years ago, probably 30 years ago when he was an agent, and he's done a fantastic job at Frogmore. No, I mean, most of these guys, you know, they are paid professionals. They are paid a reasonable salary, let's say, for what they do. And frankly, they can always stand up and I was going to say defend their position, but actually, I suppose that a better way of putting it is support their position. And they know what they're talking about. They know what they're talking about. They are 4 leaders from different areas of the property market. I mean, interestingly, if you look at them, you know, you've got 4 major organisations, one slightly different being Oxford Properties, but all of those guys are leaders in their field. I think the point was made at the breakfast, which was a good one for investment. It comes up all the time, is what investors need is certainty. And anything like Brexit, and we saw it in Scotland with a referendum, all of those things, they slow down the market and they make it too easy for people not to make decisions. A bit of a double negative there, isn't it? But that's what happens. It creates the uncertainty in the market. Frankly, the piece on rent controls is a concern, and funny enough, there's been an issue in Scotland on rent controls in a bill that they've recently published and has become law. And frankly, it's not as bad as it would appear, but the perception is that there's a concern over rent controls and people stop investing. I think the interesting point that came out today, and I thought it was a really good point, around Brexit, funny enough, was that London, in the position it's in the world, can transcend Brexit. So once we've got Brexit out the way, and I think we all broadly agree that we're going to stay in Europe, I think that's the consensus. Once that's out of the way, I think it'll be business as normal, but markets are cyclical. There's stuff happening. As we know, there's value adjustments, price adjustments happening in the resi market at the moment. That's not a massive surprise. There's issue that's been driven by stamp duty, but markets correct themselves and they evolve. But London and the UK is still in a fantastic position. The fact is, property is still a very competitive market, and in spite of the comments that were made about the positivity in the market, just talking to somebody now actually, it's still very difficult to get funding. It's interesting, Bill Hughes talking about the volumes of investment that LG are making, or even more fascinating, about the diversity of what they're doing. So yeah, no, I think the market, the investment market certainly in terms of institutional money, has evolved incredibly. So I think you're right. I think, yeah, I mean, I don't know whether you relax a bit. I think what you have to do is start to sort of take the longer term view.